Hello， 大家好，欢迎收看阿善 Cafe， 我是阿善。不知道大家还记不记得上次阿善在鹿特丹影展的影片里面提到看了《狂欢时刻 Dead and Beautiful》这部电影。那这部电影呢是在台湾拍的一个吸血鬼的故事。那这次呢，阿善就来访问导演 David Verbeek， 来看看他到底是怎么创作出这个故事的。那别忘了，如果在看的过程中你想要跳到你想看的问题，也可以点下面的时间钮点到你想看的问题哦。好，话不多说，我们开始看吧。So, Mr. David Verbeek, thank you so much for joining me today. And you're the director of the film Dead and Beautiful, and welcome joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm very well. It's too bad that I can't be in Rotterdam at this time.
Right.
The Netherlands is in lockdown.
Right.
There is no physical film festival, so it's all a little bit different than we expected it to be.
Okay, so I just watched your film a few days ago, and I feel like that you show us a very astonishing and it's quite of like a fantasy, but also heavy at the time. And I like to start with a very straightforward question: how did this whole thing, how did these dead and beautiful vampires idea come from?
Well, I think it emerged from when I was in Shanghai. I was living in Shanghai many years ago,
right.
And it was really like I was kind of triggered by this phenomenon of富二代, second generation rich, and one time I just had the idea of like what if these individuals, a group of these富二代that kind of live in their own world, what if they would literally one day wake up with fangs? What if they would literally become bloodsuckers? Because sometimes rich people, are accused of being, 吸血鬼, like bloodsuckers.
Right.
So, so I was just, it all started, really just of, out of a desire to make a genre film, and do something that's very contemporary these days because the vampires nowadays are like, they're not, people living in castles and, it's not like
right.
ancient money. It's, the rich people of nowadays are often people that, whose family got rich very suddenly and very quickly. So this, I was just kind of inspired by, the idea that vampires, what it would be to be, a modern day vampire. Because there's already been so many vampire films made over the years and so many series. So I wanted to do something new with it, something very contemporary with it. So yeah, that's where it started.
Yeah. And you also hit a point that I really want to ask you, because I feel like that this story does not need to be filmed in Taiwan. But why do you want to film this in Taiwan at this point?
I've already made several films in Taiwan. And I think Taiwan for me is visually very interesting. Taiwan also, especially late at night, kind of has a kind of mysterious quality to it. So I also think that, I always think Taiwan is just a very interesting and inspiring place to set a film. And since Taiwan also has this element of like a very modern city and also this life of richness and abundance, I thought, why not? It could also be set in Taiwan. The other thing is that these games that these super rich people play with each other, they need to have something, like a starting point or reason why they could believe that they have turned into vampires. And for that, I thought that this ritual was a very this kind of Yenjuming ritual, which they're kind of tricked into. Was a very good idea. Was a very inspiring idea for this. Of course, I mean the actual Aboriginal population of Taiwan is actually something which is very authentic and very beautiful. And I think in the end of the film, we also portray them as being a very special kind of people that should be appreciated very much.
Since you bring up the Aboriginals culture that you brought into your film, and I'm quite interested in, have you got any experience of this sort of tour that trigger you to connect this into your script?
No, because this kind of tour is totally fake. They only, you know, I mean, one of them created this kind of tour, but it doesn't actually exist. And what I have experienced is because I've been all over Taiwan and I have encountered many Aboriginal tribes, and I am very fascinated by the beauty of their culture, their dance, and especially also their vocals and their music. So that's something I wanted to very much incorporate in the film. That's why also in the end, you know, there's this, you know, this concert happening, and we can really hear this beautiful vocal quality of this culture, you know, which is kind of exploited by these rich people, you know, as just this kind of thing to have, you know, at this party. But I mean, there is a very, I wanted it also to really feel like a very beautiful thing that was, you know, that would touch the audience. So yeah.
Right. And you also connected Aboriginals with Dutch in your storytelling. And do you have any kind of meaning you want to do, or is just all fake and stories that you created?
Well, I mean, it's of course a completely ridiculous idea that one of the characters, Binray, has in the film to make this connection. It's kind of meant to be, you know, to be funny. But I am very interested in the Dutch presence, the Dutch history here in Taiwan, and I'm also reading many books about it, and I'm also considering doing a story about it myself at some point, to do a film about that. I know that there's already, you know, there are 3 films already going to be made.
Yeah, Wei Deshen. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Wen Deshen is already doing it.
Right.
But he's probably going to do it in a way like Silicabale, you know, like very big, epic story. I would like to do something very small, like a very personal, very small adventure that happens in that time, that follows perhaps a few Dutchmen that have been left behind after Koshika has destroyed the fortress Selandia, and then also encounters with the Aboriginals at that time. So I have my own interpretation of, my own interest of that time, which I'm currently also working on.
Because you film a lot of this film in Kaohsiung, so
yeah.
Do you have any places or people that make you remember a lot?
Yeah, I mean, Kaohsiung was really a fantastic, fantastic locations. The entire abandoned real estate that they land on is in Kaohsiung. Actually, the exterior of the helicopter flying towards the building is in Taipei New City, and then the interior of that whole building is in Kaohsiung, and also the scenes in front of the street are also in Kaohsiung. So it's very much of a mixed bag, really. I mean, we kind of collected visual material for the film all over Taiwan. But Kaohsiung was a very nice place to shoot, and I remember that also my crew liked it very much. Also the Dutch crewmen. You know, I mean, Kaohsiung is just a lovely city, and it's a bit warmer, so you know we very much enjoyed our time there.
So throughout this whole process, did you speak to some rich, or how did you find out their feelings?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I've you know, over the years I've also maintained friendships with people that are more or less in that situation, and you know, so for sure I try to always be as close to my subject as I can, and then I try to be, you know, to do it justice, you know, to have real, to have integrity into what, you know, what is really the core about people like that. And in this case, you know, I think a lot of people like that that are really like very, very, very wealthy, it is difficult for them to kind of create their own feeling of identity, because they are so much in the shadow of their rich parents. Like, you know, it's that they will always be the son or the daughter of, instead of, you know, being seen as, you know, for what they themselves have accomplished. And it's very frustrating for many of them to just be seen as the person to take over the company, you know, once the father or mother gets too old. So, you know, I think this group of people is a very good subject if you want to, explore the theme of trying to find your own identity.
I've seen that you are working with Jasper Wolf, who previously worked on Monos, which is astonishing. I loved it a lot, and he sort of like to use a kind of wild lens. And how did this collaboration happen? And what sort of different point of view you as also as photographer got in during this whole process?
Well, I mean, Jasper Wolf and me are very different as photographers, as like visually. So we really found each other kind of in anamorphic lenses because because for this film we really wanted to make it feel like very wide and very impressive. So the anamorphic lenses really worked out for that. And the thing about the collaboration is mostly that he is someone who is very good at really observing the characters very closely and really getting into the head of the characters. And I'm more of for me, the locations are very important. So I think we have a little bit of both of that right now. We have scenes where we very closely follow the characters and really get into the heads and the minds of them. But we also have this kind of atmospheric quality where we really see the environments. So we kind of, I think I brought something to the table visually and he brought something to the table visually. And we found each other there in the middle.
Okay, so once again, I really like how you fantastically made this Dead and Beautiful, and I wish all the best with its releasing later on, and thank you for taking your time.
Yeah, I hope it's going to be released in Taiwan as soon as possible, but we'll see. I mean, we have to see now with the coronavirus and everything when it will be a good time to release, but I hope it's definitely coming, and I hope it's coming as soon as possible.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.